Hi folks, welcome back to another segment of Veterans Did You Know? Today I'm talking with Lillian Spyke, and we're talking about women, spouses of veterans who have post-traumatic stress and how they deal with it. And we got into some of it in the first segment, and if you missed it, go back and watch it because it's kind of going to build a building block here. And we're up to the part where we brought in the stool, our famous milk stool, I call it, three-legged stool that in your life, you're psychologically got a building block or a leg of a stool, and you're physiologically got one, and then you spiritually got to have one. And if you ever sit on a milk stool, if you got all three legs there, you're going to constantly tip over. And I think most people, will get the physical one taken care of pretty quick because you see a physical wound on you or some kind of deformity, something you go after that. Psychologically, that's a little tougher nut, and it doesn't matter if it's a wound, PTSD, if it's any kind of experience, a near-death experience, an assault experience, a loss of a child, loss of a loved one. Those are the things that are psyche that we hold in and we don't let out, and that stuff percolates. If you don't let it out, it'll get you. And the third is spiritually, and when Wes and I were laughing because, quite frankly, when I came home from the service on leave and I found out that Wes was a minister, I said, we aren't talking about Skip. I said, we aren't talking about Skip. I said, yeah. I said, are you kidding me? And I said, well, you know what? I so respect somebody who can say that there's somebody bigger than me and there's something out there bigger than me, and you found that. Whatever it happens to be, you can put it whatever name you want to on it, but if there's some higher belief that you have or something out there that you can, because there's something bigger than all of us. And that part of your life is, and then you're still rocking out there and rolling and stuff. So we kind of talk about having those together, and we talked earlier about so many of the Vietnam vets are on subsequent marriages. They've been married 1, 2, 3, 4 times, whatever else, and each time there's a divorce, there's children involved, and the kids don't understand, the vet doesn't understand, the ex-spouse doesn't understand. And years down the road, I met so many ex-spouses, first wives, they said, I still love the guy. I always loved him. I just couldn't live with him. He was just this raving, sometimes maniac, and I didn't know where it was coming from, and we just couldn't do it anymore. And so that's kind of where we left off. We were talking about the spiritual part, because Lil and Wes was married 42 years.
I have to count.
Yeah, 42 years.
You're close.
And it was a tough, every marriage is a work in progress. I don't care who you are. You got good days, bad days, up days, down days. But when you have something that's thrown in there that's a constant spur, that's constant irritant, it comes up, and that's what post-traumatic stress does. Even if you think you've had a handle on it, you've been treated for a long time, out of the clear blue sky, something can happen. I think Wes said the other day, him and I were talking, that you guys were walking someplace. You're walking down during the summer celebration. He smelled something cooking on the grill. And he kind of zoned out, and he said, you looked at him and said, are you all right? And he said, I was just back in Vietnam. He said,
exactly.
I just took this mental flight, and it put him right back there. And people said, that was 30 years ago. Get over it. How can you? But it does. Those things happen.
It never goes away.
Somebody who's raped, somebody who's assaulted or beat up, you get to a certain street or something reminds you of that, and you will flash back. You will flash back and do that stuff. But the spouse takes it, and unfortunately, in a marriage, when the vet acts out, the violence comes out. You wake up in the middle of the night thinking you're back and someone's trying to kill you, and you wake up and find out you're choking your wife, or you're throwing something at her, or you just this raping thing, and they say, I'm so sorry. But you said, okay, you hit me that time. I'll write that off as your arm, but you know what? No, not that. Once, shame on you, twice shame on me type stuff. And the guy doesn't know. It doesn't know it does. And so finally we have a place here in Muskegon, the Vet Service Center, where we have psychiatrists, we have mental health counselors, we have just a group of vets that understand it. Every single day we find them, don't we?
We sure do.
Lil and Wes have a ministry, Common Ground Ministries, where they're out right amongst them. They're out in the field, if you will, and we're very visible and they're very approachable. And vets come every day. At the last bike time, we had guys in tears that hadn't dealt with their stuff for 30, 40 years.
Exactly, and the women have felt
really
out of it because right now they may be sent to Battle Creek or somewhere for treatment, and the women are saying, "What about me?"
Yeah.
what's out there for me? I don't understand what's going on. And so this support group has been excellent. We are not a therapy group. We don't claim to be a therapy group. But if you do need therapy, we can get you some help through the VA, and we do that. But this is a support group that's faith-based. We come around people. We have a lady right now whose husband will be going off for in-house treatment, and she is nervous about being alone for those weeks. And now she has a support group that will be around her while he's gone and help her through. Our whole thing is to restore and to strengthen our marriages and our relationships with our loved ones, our veterans, and that's how we do it. We continually say, we'll be there for you, hold on, and you can do it. And you know, the women they'll tell you they're not far from being saints too. They haven't understood it, so they get in turn angry when their spouse is angry. They become angry, and it's just like batting heads. I just read this week, and I believe it was a VA material I was reading, where someone was quoted as saying, "Not many women went to Vietnam, but many women were scarred by Vietnam." And I think that's probably true of our returning veterans from whether it be Afghanistan or Iraq. Families, spouses are scarred by what happened.
Well, I think we're seeing the same thing, and that's what's really critical. We're seeing the same level of PTSD, post-traumatic stress, coming out of the Iraq and Afghani vets as we did in Vietnam. And the Vietnam vets took so long to get a handle on it. Well, it took so long for medicine to catch up.
That's right.
Give us a diagnosis. Here's the signs and symptoms. Here's possible treatments for it. Here's how you get to it.
And give us a name.
Yeah, and give us a name.
What is it?
And then because it's a mental health issue, let's get you in and treat that. Well, that's the last, you're so far down the line on disorders to be treated, that's it. But as a vet would bring a veteran in, and we got vets feeling better and being treated and being compensated. But then again, like you said, well, what about the spouse? What about the spouse? And the VA, I always said glibly that, did we issue you a spouse? And they said, oh, no. I said, well, then, why, if we didn't issue it to you, you went out and got it. That's on your, we don't. So the VA would not treat the spouse. And then, again, the VA is, they're finally realizing you can't heal a person unless you've got both sides of it. This is the spouse. This is the other half of that individual throughout their life, and if this part is getting well and this part doesn't understand what's going on, you're never going to fix it. You're never going to fix it. Well, finally now they're allowed to provide counseling for the families. That's formal counseling. But what Lil's group does is the women, spouses of vets with post-traumatic stress who have lived through it or are living through it, just that support group.
That's right.
I'm not in this alone. I don't know how many said, Jesus, this is so nice to know. I thought I was crazy. I thought I was doing stuff wrong.
Exactly.
I thought it was my fault. Taking all that guilt on and then finding out, no, it's not yours. And it's not really the spouse's because they don't know either. So once you find out what it is and you both go working at it, and then there's the technical side of the house or the medical side of the house, if you will, or professional side of the house, I guess that's what I'm looking for is, but what about the person next door who can say, all right, this is what the doctor said off the textbook, or this is what the counselor said, but how did you guys do it?
Exactly. That's what people are searching for.
And this afternoon or tonight or tomorrow morning, if it hits me, how am I going to call? Who can I call? I can call you and talk because you've been there, or you can call me or whatever else. That's what's so important. We
have several rules that every group has to have just to function. And one of them is not to husband bash or spouse bash. That's not allowed. That isn't our purpose. That's not what we're there for. We're there because we love our husbands. And we want that relationship to grow and nurture and be stronger, and what can we do to strengthen it. But you talking about that really spurred just an email that I received today from one of the ladies. She said, this was not a good day. He was not having a good day. And then she wrote me back and said a little later that I'm okay now. I decided instead of a rebuttal, I went to my Bible and I looked up some verses that we talked about, and I stayed in there and I said, and it melded away, didn't it? And she said it did.
It wasn't worth the confrontation.
It wasn't, no. So we're learning.
We need to take another quick break here, and we'll be right back, but stay tuned with us. We got some good information for you. Be right back.